My dear friends, there is a deep stillness inside each of us, a quiet place untouched by the noise of the world, untouched by the endless activity that life often demands. It is here in this silent space that true life is felt, not in the ticking of the clock or the chasing of goals. For those of you working past the age of 55, I offer you a simple, honest invitation to step out of the relentless doing and to enter into the freedom of being. You see, society has taught us to equate our worth with our productivity. We have been conditioned to believe that our identity is tied to our job titles, our roles, and the business of our days. But this is an illusion, one that causes much suffering and exhaustion. When you continue to push yourself in the outer world, even when your body and spirit are whispering for rest, you miss the profound gift of this present moment. The present moment does not ask you to perform, it simply asks you to be. True life is found in presence, not productivity. This simple truth often gets lost in the relentless pace of modern living, where success is measured by output, achievements, and constant movement. From early on, many are taught that to be valuable, they must always be doing, working harder, pushing further, producing more. Yet, beneath this external drive lies a profound misunderstanding about what it means to truly live. The essence of life is not something that can be grasped through busy schedules or endless tasks. It is experienced only when we connect deeply with the present moment. Presence is the awareness of what is happening right now, without judgment, without distraction. It is the space where life unfolds in its fullness, untouched by worries about the future or regrets from the past. Productivity, by contrast, is rooted in time-bound goals, in outcomes that often pull us away from the here and now. When we focus exclusively on productivity, we risk becoming disconnected from the living experience, mistaking activity for fulfillment. The mind is often preoccupied with thoughts of what needs to be done, what could have been done better, or what will come next. This mental noise keeps us trapped in a cycle of doing, where the present moment becomes merely a stepping stone to the next task. But the present moment, in its purest form, holds a stillness and completeness that cannot be achieved through external accomplishments. When you become aware of this moment fully, when your attention settles into what is rather than what should be, you begin to touch the essence of your true life. Consider how often people rush through their days, focused on their to-do lists, goals, and deadlines. In this rush, the richness of simple experience is overlooked: the warmth of sunlight on the skin, the subtle rhythm of the breath, the gentle presence of another person. These moments are not secondary, they are the foundation of life itself. Presence is the doorway to joy, peace, and genuine connection. When you live from presence rather than productivity, you shift your relationship to time and action. Your work, your tasks, and even your challenges become part of a larger flow rather than a relentless grind. The difference is subtle but profound. Your actions arise from a place of calm awareness instead of compulsive doing. This doesn't mean you stop caring about your responsibilities or cease contributing to the world. It means that your sense of self is no longer defined by those activities. Instead, you move through life as the silent witness to your own experience, grounded in the now. In presence, there is an absence of resistance to what is. You stop fighting against the flow of life and begin to accept each moment as it comes. This acceptance is not passive resignation, but a deep acknowledgement that life is happening right now. In all its complexity and simplicity, productivity often pushes against this natural flow, forcing things to happen on a timetable set by the mind. Presence invites you to align with life's inherent rhythm, allowing your actions to be guided by awareness rather than urgency. As you cultivate presence, the noise of compulsive thinking diminishes. You start to see the difference between the voice of the mind, which constantly demands more, and the quiet voice of being, which invites you to rest in what is. This awareness frees you from the habitual belief that you must prove your worth through endless doing. Instead, you realize that your value is inherent simply because you exist in this moment. The more you practice presence, the more you recognize that productivity is not the source of fulfillment. It is the quality of your attention that matters. A single moment of deep presence can be more enriching than hours spent in frantic activity. In presence, you reconnect with the timeless dimension of life, the unchanging essence beneath all forms and events. This awakening to presence does not come from achieving more or becoming better at tasks. It comes from stepping out of the mental noise and allowing yourself to be fully here now. It is an invitation to experience life as it truly is, without the filters of past conditioning or future expectations. This is the true nature of being alive, not the quantity of what you do, but the quality of how you inhabit your moments. Presence opens the door to a life of ease and grace, where effort is balanced by surrender and action is infused with peace. It calls you to move beyond the illusion that productivity alone defines your existence and to embrace the deeper reality that you are already complete in this very moment. Identity tied to work is an illusion causing suffering. From early childhood, many of us are encouraged to define ourselves by what we do, our professions, our achievements, the roles we fulfill in society. This identification with work becomes so deeply ingrained that it feels inseparable from who we are. We wear our job titles like badges of honor or feel diminished when our roles change or end. Yet, beneath this attachment lies a subtle but powerful illusion that our true self is found in external accomplishments rather than in the essence of our being. When identity is rooted solely in work, it becomes vulnerable to constant fluctuation and anxiety. Jobs change, careers evolve, and bodies age, but the core of who we are remains. The problem arises when we mistake the temporary, external labels for our permanent selfhood. This misidentification leads to suffering because it sets up a condition where our sense of worth depends on performance, approval, and recognition. When those things are threatened, so too is our peace of mind. This illusion is reinforced by societal expectations that praise productivity and success as the primary measures of a meaningful life. People feel pressure to achieve, to climb higher, to keep contributing, even when their inner energy is waning. The fear of losing identity after retirement or a career shift can be profound because the self seems to dissolve without the familiar markers of work. Yet, this fear itself reveals the deeper truth that identity tied to work is fragile and incomplete. When you look beneath the surface, you find that your true identity is not in what you do, but in the silent presence that observes all doing. This presence is constant and unchanging no matter the external circumstances. It does not depend on job titles, income, or social status. It simply is. Yet, when we are caught in the illusion of work-based identity, we fail to recognize this inner essence. Suffering arises because the mind clings to these external labels as if they are the only proof of existence. This clinging creates tension, anxiety, and a persistent feeling of never being enough. It pushes people to overwork, to avoid rest, to deny the natural cycles of life that call for slowing down. The more the mind identifies with work, the more it fears retirement or any situation that might threaten that identity. The irony is that work when seen from the perspective of presence, is simply one aspect of life, not the totality. It can be a joyful expression, a way to serve and contribute, but it is not who you are at your core. When the attachment to work-based identity loosens, a new freedom emerges. You begin to see yourself as the awareness behind the roles and accomplishments, rather than the roles themselves. This shift in perspective can bring profound healing. No longer driven by fear of loss or judgment, you start to live with greater ease and acceptance. You recognize that the end of a career or the slowing down of activity does not diminish your being. It reveals a deeper dimension of yourself, previously hidden behind the noise of doing. When identity is untethered from work, you become more present to the richness of life itself. You discover that you are enough, not because of what you produce or achieve, but simply because you exist. This awareness quiets the mind's restless demands and softens the grip of ego-driven striving. The illusion of work-based identity also blinds us to the interconnectedness of all life. When we see ourselves only through our job, we isolate our value from the larger whole, but presence reveals that we are part of a vast, living web of existence where worth is not earned but inherent. This understanding dissolves the loneliness and pressure that often accompany attachment to work roles. Many experience a crisis when the identity tied to work begins to fade. This crisis, while painful, is an opportunity for awakening. It invites you to look beyond the surface and discover the stable, unchanging presence that underlies all change. It calls you to rest in the awareness that is always here, waiting beneath the shifting forms of life. To let go of identity tied to work is to step into a deeper truth, a truth that frees you from suffering and invites you into a life lived with greater peace, presence, and authenticity. Retirement is reclaiming your inner stillness and freedom. Often, when we hear the word retirement, the mind immediately jumps to images of leisure, vacations, or perhaps a slowing down of life's pace. Yet, retirement holds a far deeper significance than simply stepping away from a job or career. It is an invitation to reclaim something essential that many lose sight of amid the demands and distractions of work and daily responsibilities, the quiet sanctuary of inner stillness and the freedom that arises from it. Throughout much of adult life, the energy and focus are directed outward. Work, family obligations, social roles, all these require attention, effort, and planning. This outward focus is necessary and often rewarding, but it can come at the expense of the inner life. The mind becomes cluttered with worries about performance, achievements, deadlines, and future plans. In this mental business, the soul's deeper needs are often neglected. Retirement offers a unique opportunity to step back from this outer activity and turn inward. It is a chance to rediscover the silent presence that has always been within you, but may have been overshadowed by the noise of daily life. This presence is not something new or something you have to achieve. It is the foundation of your being, always accessible when you allow yourself to pause and listen. Reclaiming your inner stillness means learning to be comfortable with simply being. It is the ability to rest in the present moment without the compulsion to fill time with doing or planning. This stillness is not emptiness or boredom. Rather, it is a rich, fertile space where clarity, peace, and insight arise naturally. Many people who have retired speak of this newfound sense of calm and spaciousness that emerges when the constant pressure to perform is released. Freedom, in this context, is freedom from identification with external roles and from the endless demands of the mind. It is freedom from the need to prove yourself or to measure your value by accomplishments. When you reclaim your inner stillness, You realize that your true essence is untouched by changing circumstances, by success or failure, by the passing of time. This realization brings a profound sense of liberation. Retirement can be a gateway to living with greater authenticity because it removes the masks and expectations tied to work identities. Without the need to conform to professional roles or societal pressures, you can reconnect with your deeper passions, your intuition, and your natural rhythms. This is a time for self-discovery and renewal. Many resist retirement because it feels like a loss of purpose, loss of identity, loss of connection. Yet, this resistance arises from attachment to the outer form rather than an understanding of what lies beneath. The true essence of retirement is not about losing something, but about gaining access to a deeper dimension of yourself. When you approach retirement as reclaiming inner stillness, it shifts the entire experience. It becomes less about endings and more about beginnings, a beginning of a new way of being that is grounded in presence rather than performance. This inner stillness is a wellspring of creativity, wisdom, and compassion that can flow freely once the mind is no longer dominated by urgency and stress. Freedom in retirement also means freedom to live according to your own inner guidance rather than external demands. It is the ability to choose each moment with awareness and intention. You are no longer driven by the need to meet deadlines or fulfill roles. Instead, you move through life with a gentle openness, responding to what arises with clarity and calm. This reclaimed stillness and freedom bring a richness to life that transcends material success or social status. It is a deep fulfillment that arises from simply being aligned with the flow of life itself. In this state, the moments of joy, connection, and meaning multiply because you are fully present to receive them. Retirement, therefore, is a sacred opportunity to return home to yourself, to the unchanging presence that has always been your true nature. It is an invitation to rest deeply in who you are beyond all roles and to live with a freedom that is unshaken by the external world. This reclaiming is perhaps the greatest gift retirement can offer, a gift that nourishes the soul and awakens the heart. Stepping away from work amplifies your true value. This idea challenges a deeply rooted belief that one's worth is measured by continuous productivity and tangible achievements. In a society where success is often equated with constant output, taking a deliberate step back from work, especially later in life, can feel counterintuitive or even frightening. Yet, when you allow yourself the space to pause, to stop defining yourself solely by what you do, your intrinsic value begins to shine with greater clarity and strength. Work and accomplishment are visible markers, easily recognized by others and ourselves. They create a sense of identity and purpose, but they are only a part of a much larger picture. When these external markers are removed or set aside, especially in retirement, many fear losing their sense of self. However, this stepping away is not a loss. It is an unveiling. It reveals the deeper qualities that define who you truly are beyond roles, titles, and tasks. Your true value lies not in your productivity, but in your being, the essence of who you are without any labels or accomplishments. This essence is constant and unchanging, unlike the fleeting nature of jobs and achievements. When work is the sole basis for self-worth, it can create a fragile sense of identity that depends on external validation. But when you disengage from that dependency, you connect with the stable, underlying presence that is your true self. This process of stepping away from work can be transformative. It allows you to see that your value is inherent, not earned. It is present in your kindness, your wisdom, your experiences, and your capacity for presence. These qualities deepen and grow when you stop rushing to prove yourself through doing. Instead, you begin to appreciate your own life and contributions as they are, without needing to add more to them. Many people discover that when they retire, their relationships improve. Freed from the stress and distraction of work, they become more present to their loved ones and to themselves. This presence enriches interactions and fosters deeper connection and understanding. Such qualities cannot be measured by productivity, yet they hold immense value for both yourself and those around you. Stepping away from work also opens the door to creativity and personal growth in ways that relentless business often suppresses. Without the pressure to perform or deliver, the mind and heart become freer to explore new interests, passions, and insights. This unfolding of the self is a profound reminder that your value is multidimensional and extends far beyond the confines of any job or career. It is important to recognize that withdrawing from work is not about becoming inactive or disengaged from life. Rather, it is about shifting the source of your worth from external achievements to inner qualities and presence. This shift is a quiet revolution in how you relate to yourself and the world, a move from striving and proving to simply being and contributing from a place of authenticity. When you embrace this understanding, you also cultivate greater self-compassion. You learn to honor your journey without harsh judgment or comparison. This compassion nurtures resilience and peace, which are vital in the later stages of life. The freedom to rest in your true value brings a sense of ease that no amount of work can provide. Moreover, stepping away from work redefines success. Success is no longer measured by accomplishments or titles, but by the quality of your presence and the depth of your engagement with life. This redefinition allows you to find meaning and fulfillment in new ways that are aligned with your current stage of life and inner awareness. Your true value then is revealed when you stop measuring yourself by external standards and begin to recognize the inherent worth that has always been there. It is a value rooted in your very being, unchanging, whole, and complete. By stepping away from work, you create the space to rediscover and embody this truth more fully than ever before. Ask if you live from necessity or presence. This question invites a profound examination of how you experience your life, especially as you move into later stages where work and activity often shift or cease. Living from necessity means being driven by external pressures, obligations, and the endless shoulds imposed by society, the mind, or circumstance. It is a state where actions arise from fear, habit, or survival rather than conscious choice. Living from presence, on the other hand, means embodying awareness of the here and now, responding to life with clarity, openness, and acceptance. Many people find themselves working past 55 because they feel they have no other choice. The necessity to maintain income, status, or routine can be overwhelming. This necessity creates a compulsion to keep doing, to keep proving one's worth through productivity. Yet, living solely from necessity disconnects you from your deeper self. It keeps you trapped in cycles of stress, dissatisfaction, and exhaustion because your actions are dictated by fear or expectation rather than true desire or meaning. When necessity governs life, you often feel like a passenger rather than the driver. Decisions are made out of pressure or survival instinct, and moments of joy or peace are fleeting. Your attention is focused on what must be done next rather than on what is happening right now. This creates a restless mind and a tired body caught in a pattern of doing without truly being. In contrast, living from presence means cultivating an inner space where you can witness your thoughts, emotions, and actions without being overwhelmed by them. It is the ability to pause and recognize that beneath the surface activity lies a silent awareness that remains steady regardless of circumstance. From this place of presence, your actions arise not from compulsion, but from conscious choice. Presence brings a radical freedom. It allows you to meet each moment as it is, without resistance or judgment. This does not mean ignoring responsibilities or ceasing to act. Rather, it means engaging with life fully while maintaining an inner center of calm and clarity. When you live from presence, work, rest, relationships, and all activities become expressions of awareness rather than mere tasks to be completed. The distinction between necessity and presence also highlights the difference between reaction and response. Necessity often triggers reactive behavior, automatic conditioned responses to external demands. Presence, however, fosters a space for thoughtful response, where you are aware of your inner state and can choose how to act with intention and compassion. Many people who continue working past traditional retirement age may feel stuck in necessity, believing that they must continue for financial reasons or societal expectations. While practical concerns are real and should be addressed, it is also essential to recognize when necessity has become the sole driver of life. This recognition is the first step toward reclaiming presence. Living from presence is not about denying reality or avoiding challenges. It is about meeting those challenges with a clear mind and open heart. It is about discovering that even in difficult circumstances, there is a space within that remains untouched by stress or fear. This space is always available but often overlooked when life is dominated by necessity. To cultivate presence, practices such as mindfulness, meditation, or simply bringing awareness to daily activities can be helpful. These practices train the mind to rest in the now, to observe without judgment, and to connect with the deeper self beyond thought patterns. Over time, presence becomes a natural way of being rather than an occasional refuge. Living from presence shifts your relationship to time as well. Instead of being caught in worries about the future or regrets about the past, you begin to experience life as a series of unfolding moments, each complete in itself. This shift brings peace and diminishes the urgency that often drives people to overwork or overextend themselves. Ultimately, asking whether you live from necessity or presence is a powerful tool for self-awareness. It invites you to pause, reflect, and choose a way of living that aligns with your deeper truth rather than external demands. This choice can transform your experience of life, especially as you navigate the transitions and freedoms that come with stepping away from work. Retire to arrive fully in the present moment. This statement holds a profound invitation that goes beyond the conventional notion of retirement as simply leaving behind a career or the act of stopping work. True retirement is an inward journey, a conscious stepping into the fullness of now, free from the distractions and identities tied to one's profession or daily obligations. It is about rediscovering life in its simplest and most essential form as pure presence. Many people view retirement as an endpoint, a conclusion to years of labor and achievement. They anticipate it as a time of rest, perhaps leisure, but often with uncertainty about what comes next. Yet, when retirement is embraced as the arrival in the present moment, it becomes a powerful beginning, a rebirth into a state of awareness that may have been overshadowed by decades of doing and striving. Throughout working life, much of the mind's attention is fixed on the future, meeting deadlines, reaching goals, advancing careers. This future-oriented mindset can create a persistent restlessness, a feeling of always needing to get somewhere else or accomplish something more. The present moment, the only reality that truly exists, becomes a transient space, quickly passed over in the rush of activity. To retire with awareness means to consciously release the grip of this future fixation and to anchor yourself in the now. It is an opportunity to experience each moment with openness and clarity, without the mental noise of planning or worry. This arrival in presence is not dependent on circumstances or external events. It is available at any moment, yet it often requires stepping away from habitual patterns of thought and behavior to recognize. In this sense, retirement is not about losing purpose, but about shifting the source of purpose from external achievements to inner awareness. When you arrive fully in the present moment, you realize that purpose is not something to be earned or acquired, but something that naturally arises when you are connected to the depth of your being. This purpose is aligned with peace, acceptance, and a deep sense of belonging to life itself. The experience of arriving in presence can transform how you view yourself and your relationship with time. Rather than seeing time as a resource to be managed or a series of tasks to complete, you begin to feel time as a flowing continuum in which each moment is whole and complete. This perspective brings freedom from the anxiety and pressure that often accompany aging and retirement. Retiring to arrive in the present also invites a new relationship with your own body and senses. Instead of rushing through the day disconnected from physical experience, you start to notice the sensations of breath, the rhythms of the body, and the subtle shifts in emotion and thought. This embodied awareness anchors you more deeply in the now, enriching the quality of your experience. This state of presence is a wellspring of joy and gratitude. When you are fully present, even ordinary moments become extraordinary. The taste of a meal, the sound of birds, the warmth of sunlight, these simple experiences open into vast landscapes of wonder and appreciation. Retirement, seen this way, becomes a gateway to savoring life in a way that business often obscures. Moreover, arriving in the present moment fosters a deep acceptance of what is. Without the constant drive to change or fix, you learn to welcome life as it unfolds, including its challenges and limitations. This acceptance is not passive resignation, but a conscious embracing of reality that frees you from suffering caused by resistance. Many who have worked long years may find this shift challenging because it asks them to let go of identities built around productivity and control. Yet it is precisely this letting go that opens the door to authentic freedom. In retirement, you are invited to discover who you are beyond roles, achievements, and the stories told by the mind. This discovery is the heart of arriving fully in the present moment. It is a return to a place of peace and clarity that has always been within you, waiting quietly beneath the surface of activity and noise. Retirement, when embraced with this awareness, becomes not an end but a sacred passage into a deeper, more meaningful way of living. Retire now, not to escape, but to arrive. To arrive fully in your life in this moment where all true freedom lives. Thank you.